Hello, welcome to the Apocalyptic Ashram Hawkshaven. And I had a good day today, and I wanted to um, share some ideas with you. And oh, there's the sock right there. Okay, so I needed an old sock to be able to do this video. And I want to talk about how comfort is expensive. You know, I always heard of like these boots right here being a really comfortable boot. If you're going to wear a boot, that's the boot to wear. And but they're expensive. I mean, I think they're like $280 to $300. That's the closest I'd ever seen, and I was like, holy crap! There ain't no way I'm spending 280 or $300 on a boot. You know, I mean, I like walking barefoot most of the time. So most of the time these boots aren't going to be worn. But anyway, I wanted to be doing something while I talk with you, because if I just make a video and I'm just sitting here talking and doing nothing, then oh, there it goes. Gotta do the other side, right? Well, then I'm not getting done the things that I want to get done, right? So, and if I'm not getting done the things I want to get done, then that means that I'm not being very productive with my time. But the thing is, I just got a lot of stuff to do. So I'm gonna work on this while I talk with you about this idea how comfort is expensive. And comfort being expensive is like on every level. I mean, like, you know, like I said, I heard that these boots were just like the best boot that a person can have, right? I mean, if you're gonna have a pair of these boots, it's gonna be, I don't even know what, but I don't know. They're just a nice brand though. Anyway, um, but because they're so expensive, I never bought a pair. You know, I mean, I enjoy walking barefoot. And if I really need protective footwear, I'm gonna use something a little less expensive, because I don't want to mess up something really expensive, right? Because I mean that's dumb. You use your money efficiently if you don't have a whole lot of it, right? I mean, because that's how most folks are. You use your money as efficiently as you can, because it doesn't go very far in today's world. Right? We got anyway. I'm going to tell you a story of how I got these boots. So, and that's what the important part to me is I'm going to share the story about my new friend that I didn't even know I had before. Right? It all started one day when a lady called me up that lives up the road. I'd been to a yard sale of hers a few years ago, and they kind of liked what I had to say, and they said, well, hey, if we got other stuff that you might be interested in, well, let's get your number from you. I said, yeah, all right. So I gave my phone number, and like a year and a half later, the lady calls me up and she says, hey, I got this really big chunk of wood that I don't want anymore. It was in my garden, but it's just in the way, and and I figured if you wanted it, you can. I mean, at the minimum, you could burn it in your stove or something, And I'm like, all right, I'll pick it up. And so to me, that gave me an excuse to go up to the gas station and get some of my favorite food. They got a pretty good little restaurant up there, and they make the tacos just the way I want them. And so I went up and I grabbed the big chunk of wood, and then I went up to the gas station and I got my tacos. I got them ordered. I was just starting to eat them up there, and a guy was standing in the restaurant, and he was kind of looking around, and I kind of glanced at him or whatever, and then all of a sudden he come walking over to me, and he says, hey, do you live around here? I said, yeah. I said, I live up here on the hill. And he goes, I'm in a real bind. I was driving over to Seattle, but I'm like as soon as I came up to this exit, I had my tire blew out on my pickup, on my Dodge pickup, and I was thinking, I'm like, oh, no big deal, you know. Um, I got a spare tire, and so he made it to the gas station, but his spare tire didn't have any air in it, and luckily enough, there's a pump there, and but it didn't hold air. It was a flat tire too. It just wasn't as bad as his shredded tire. And so he was stuck. And it was, I can't remember the date, but I mean it was like a Sunday afternoon or something that no tire shops were open around here, and he didn't really have, I don't think, a whole lot of money to go try to buy something brand new if there was a shop open somewhere, right? And anyway, he came up to me and he says, "Yeah, do you know anybody that might have a tire, or a rim that I could buy from him?" And I said, "Well," I said, "you're in luck, because if there's one person on this hill that has what you need, it's me. I don't. Just because I don't need something right now doesn't mean I throw it away, right?" And some people call it hoarding, right? Some people call it you're grabbing up all this stuff, and it's like, no, I just hate seeing all this stuff getting thrown in the landfill when I know there's still a use for it, right? And so I had bought a van, and it came with a spare tire on it, but I was tearing out the suspension of the van and redoing it, so I didn't really need it anyway. And but I remembered that I had that, and so I said, yeah, let me finish my taco, and I'll go get you. I think I got something for you. And so I went home, and it was right there. I mean, it was like right as I enter. There's a little spot that I kind of drop off a few things, and yeah, and it was laying right there. So I checked the air pressure on it, and I mean, it was like a brand new tire. And so I threw it in the back of my truck, and I went up to the gas station, and there he was still, right? Kind of stuck. But he he's like, "Oh wow, no way! That's awesome. What do you want for it?" I was like, "Well, nothing. It's all right. I didn't really pay anything for it, and I'm okay just letting you have it. I mean, I've been helped by people before too, so it's all right." And he's like, "No, man, wow. No," he's like, I got to give you something. I'm like, "No, it's all right." I mean, he's looking at it like this is like a $300 or $400 tire and rim setup. I mean, if you would go buy it new, but I didn't buy it new. It was just as a as a tire in the van that I'd bought, the van body. And so anyway, that's how I got these boots. He had these boots in the back of his truck, and he was a painter. And anyway, we were talking, and I'm like, yeah, I said, well, I run my life as a ministry. I mean, some people run their life as a public citizen, and I'm a USA American, or or they consider themselves a Mexican or a Canadian or a Iranian or whatever. But people are always separating themselves from each other, and well, I mean, I built my ministry on creating unity. Unifying people, because we're all just different aspects of what life can be. I mean, some people are showing a life that you really want to be, and some are showing a life of really how you don't want life to be. So anyway, but yeah, he gave me this pair of boots, and he was like, "You know what?" He says, "You know what?" And get this. All right, so he was asking me. He's like, "Well, how much of you like how much of what you do is invested in your ministry?" I said, "Dude," I said, "I'm all in, man." I said, I've dedicated my life to being the best version of me that I can be. And I only can do that by creating an awareness right now as often as possible where I have power, right? And if I have power right here and right now, that means that I'm going to shape my life into health, happiness, peace, and abundance. Because if I don't, why wouldn't I? I mean, if I can control right now, I'm gonna create my life in a way that I'm happy doing it. You know, because if I'm not happy doing it, why am I doing it? And I mean, but it's such a beautiful opportunity for us to live in this world and uh, and experience. You know, we can experience so many different. Uh, we get to experience all sorts of different emotions, and we get to experience all sorts of different kinds of people, right? And there's some people that you just want to love them and hold them and squeeze them and tight them, you know, and hold them all the time, right? And then there's other people that you're happy that this is a really really big planet, and you hope you never see them again, you know. But love them, bless their heart. But man, um, either annoying or just a thief of joy. You know, I mean, because that's what it's really about. I mean, you know, are you going to hang out with people that are making your life better, or are you just going to hang out with whoever shows up that'll say that they love you and they'll be there to fight, steal from you, be a parasite. Um, you know, I mean, why do we do that? You know, I mean, it's not that kind of a person or that kind of an experience in your life is a bad thing. Um, but if you keep letting it happen, your tolerance to pain finally wears out. You know, and that's where people, if you don't communicate, they that parasite doesn't even know that you're bothered by them being a parasite. You know, I mean, the fly that starts, bothering a cow. I don't know. The flies actually bite. Well, yeah, they do. They're biting flies. And when the fly is biting too much, it's being a parasite for what it wants, and so then the cow flips its tail and makes it go away, right? But here in the real world, the normal world, people don't do that. You know, they're too complacent. You know, they're worried about being alone. They're like, oh my god, if I don't get rid of this parasite, I'll never find another one. Right? Yeah, no, parasites are everywhere. Parasites are everywhere. You gotta try to find somebody who needs from you as much as you need from them. Right? Then it's a trauma bond. Right? Or you just be happy within yourself, and then other people are happy being with you. You know, and if you're happy with yourself all the time, and your friend is happy with themselves all the time, and you guys are just happy together, well, that's a pretty good relationship for anybody to be in. But we gotta realize that if you replace the P on the T with the T, you can have a relationship if you're not realizing um, your ability of controlling right now. And right now, I have finished with saddle soaping these boots, and now I got to find some laces for them. But yeah, those are nice boots. So anyway, I was able to turn a junk tire into a nice pair of boots, and when I tried these things on, holy shit, they're comfortable. They protect you from the environment in a way that, because a lot of shoes they crunch into your feet, or I mean maybe you just got to get the right size. I don't know. They're just not that comfortable, and the padding isn't quite right. Any cheap shoes. But yeah, these they feel really good. So that I felt that was a really nice gift uh, in return. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but it really it was a kind of a reminder that the things that we do, they have rewards. And sometimes those rewards don't always show up like a new pair of boots, but those rewards is sometimes maybe just something bad is being kept from happening to you, right? And sometimes those rewards, they just show up in all sorts of different ways. But when we start to learn how to recognize the abundances in our life, we start to recognize how good, really how good life is. I mean, we're being broadcasted images from all over the world, from the worst things that are happening everywhere. And if people cared enough about the other people that this is happening to, it would probably stop happening. But it seems that we've got a lot of entertainment and distractions that keep us from focusing on some of the things that are more important in life. I mean, it's sad to see a person without a house, but it's really sad when it happens to you, right? And I mean, and it can happen in a lot of different ways. I mean, people that they're very responsible. They have um, they have their bills taken care of. They've got a good job. They've got a reliable vehicle. They've got um, they've actually paid their electric bill, right? I mean, they don't need help from others, but they're doing well, taking care of themselves, and then they get injured, or a natural disaster happens and you don't have suitable insurance, or you didn't realize that check didn't actually make it to the insurance company when you thought it did, and so your policy was canceled, and now you don't have money for a house, or you don't, I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons that people end up homeless, not just drug dependencies. There's traumas, there's people that have been that were formerly institutionalized. They were being taken care of 20 hours a day, or any of their needs were being met by institutions, but now they're out on the streets. We used to care enough about humanity, and we trusted that a healthy humanity built a healthy economy. But it seems that now we've stepped into an idea that if we make everything towards a healthy economy, which the healthy economy has created trillions and trillions of dollars of value and assets, but it's in a limited number of hands, right? And then that limited number of hands that has the capacity to truly create change in the world isn't doing it. Because we have drug problems. We have a lot of drug problems in the world, all across the world. I was watching documentaries. You just type in drug problems across the world, and you can watch a documentary about those topics for days and days and days. And you get to see the people that are suffering from these drug dependencies. And then you ask, why can one person break a drug dependency and other people can't break a drug dependency? And it's usually through inspiration. They get inspired to another way of living their life so that they don't have to escape from it. But if you're living a life that you need an escape from, and people can't afford a vacation all the time, if you can't afford the vacation, you might go to meth on the streets, right? And this meth and fentanyl that's on the streets, that is a real danger to your health, your wealth, right? Your mental health, your physical health, your wealth, your well-being. But people are trying to escape, and they don't know how. And so that's why I teach the simplest form of meditation, We call it heavily meditated. Heavily meditated, it doesn't happen for 20 minutes and 30 minutes on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. On Wednesdays at 6 p.m. is when you can learn about it if you come to Unity Spiritual Life Center in Yakima. And I've been introducing that as a guided meditation in how to become heavily meditated right now. And heavily meditated right now happens by becoming aware of your breath. So if you're in a state of mind where you're not, and you could choose for you, but as a suggestion, I found that if I'm focusing on health, happiness, peace, and abundance for the 4 pillars of my life, how many now moments can I be making my decisions to align with that? And so how do I become aware of right now happens the easiest way that I know of, through either taking awareness of your breath. And so you breathe in through your nose. If you start to feel anxious or depressed or anything, what you do is breathe in through your nose and try to feel how that feels. And let the air go all the way down. Try to drive it as low as you can in your lower diaphragm, and allow it to fill up into your chest. So like a slow count to 5. As I breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just thinking this. And then as I breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as I'm breathing out, try to feel all of that air leaving. And if you do that just 3 times, you're going to wonder why was I focused on things that I can't control, like the depression and anxiety, the things of the past or the things of the future. And I mean, in like anxiety, how many of these things that we've thought about only happened in our mind? And if it only happens in our mind and it didn't actually manifest in the world as you thought it would, you suffered on it. And sometimes we suffer for a minute on something, or sometimes we suffer for a minute every 2 minutes, or sometimes we suffer for every minute that we're thinking of it, right? And so we might go minutes or hours or weeks or years thinking and worrying about something. But if we take our energy and we shift it to what can I control about me right now? And what I can control about me right now is I can control my perspective of how everything is happening. Is it happening to me, or is it happening for me? And when somebody comes up with, if this has happened, if somebody comes up and punches you, you're like, oh, okay. And the quicker you can ask yourself these questions is the better you're going to be able to respond to the situation. But I'm like, oh, wow, that just happened to me. And it made me mad, right? And so I did it back, right? And then that was one way to handle things, right? So, but when I was mad about it happening to me, and I really didn't like that guy anymore. I'm like, wow, But then I thought about it. I'm like, how did it happen for me? And it happened for me, so I could have this story to tell you, right? Or it happened for me to instill my faith in my ability of defending myself. I'm very confident that, he was a big guy, but when I hit him on the jaw, his knees went like jello. He just went boom like that and went to the ground. So I know that even if somebody's bigger than me, there's a chance that I should still defend myself. And even if you think that they're bigger and tougher, that doesn't mean that if you do the right things that you can't achieve, pretty good results. So then I realized, I'm like, all right, well, that happened for me. I thank him for it. I'm like, all right, hey, thanks. He barely hit me. I kind of moved back and it just touched my lip, but I knew that he had tried to attack me, so I made sure that that wasn't going to happen anymore. There's things in life that come up to us, and it really shocks us, right? And so when we recognize how is it happening for me, it either opens up space. If somebody that you thought was going to be in your life forever isn't, it opens up space for new people to come into your life. Or we have to realize that if we have expectations of things that we can't control, it's like premeditated resentment. And I can't control me. I can't control anything beyond me, and I can't control anything beyond me right now. So if I'm going to dwell in that, in resentments of what I can't control, well, then I'm going to have a life of resentments that I can't control. But if I'm focused on me right now, and the last several years I've been on this pathway, and it takes a while. We have some momentum that goes into a direction when we put our energy in a certain direction, right? So my life didn't just turn around by thinking happy thoughts. But the more often I was able to turn thoughts that created anger or, dis-ease, right? You either in stress or you're in ease. And if you're not in ease, that means you're in dis-ease. So if you're angry and if you've got all these things happening in your life that you don't like, you're building a life that you're not going to like. But when you start shifting your awareness into as many now moments as you can, you're going to start doing the best thing you know to do right now. I mean, because, sometimes in the past, if somebody would have came up to me while I'm in the middle of eating my meal and asking me for something, I'd be like, hey, dude, I'm busy. I want to give me a break or something. We sometimes we lead busy lives, and we just got to kind of do what we're going to do. But I was able to be in leisure because I choose that I own my time. And so I don't have a boss anymore. I mean, I appreciate some of the employers that I've had because they taught me some good things, right? But they taught me enough things that I realized, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I should be my own boss now because I'm going to like that a lot better. And so when the opportunity came up with the piece of wood, I said, yeah, that sounds like a good opportunity. And sometimes big pieces of wood could actually turn into a lot of money. I mean, if it's the right kind of piece of wood, you can turn it into art, furniture, whatever. And she knows I'm kind of into doing stuff like that. So I took that opportunity. I said, yeah, right now, I'd like to go get that piece of wood. And since right now, I'm going to be up at the gas station, I might as well get me some tacos. And then right now, I realized that there was somebody in real need, and they were in a real bind. And I had the ability of helping them. It didn't cost me a whole lot, which, is makes it easier to live life and help others when life doesn't cost you so much. So this isn't a fancy studio. This is an old parachute hung up on a garage door. And I'm sitting on a bench that I bought at a yard sale for $40. I think the blanket was free. The music is from YouTube. The background music. The lighting from garage sales. I don't have a whole lot invested in this. But you can decorate yours however you want. And you can broadcast your message to the world like I've been trying to share from my platform here for a few years now. So anyway, yeah. I'm gonna do probably a little bit more talking on how comfort is. Oh, you know what? Right now, might as well do it right now because what? It's right now. Comfort is expensive. All right, and so the more comfortable a man is in the more environments that he has exposure to, or that are exposed to him, the richer a man is. Right, and I feel like I'm one of the richest men on earth. Not because I have a ton of money. I mean, there's people with There's people that have like over $100,000, or then there's even more that have like 1 million or billions, right? Trillions. I mean, with assets, and I mean they've really gathered some wealth, right? Well, my wealth, I find in the right now moment, because I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I am the happiest I've ever been. I am the most peaceful I've ever been. And I'm the most abundant. Because I realize that I really don't need that much. And if I have too many things that I don't need, it can create a burden. But if it was done in the right way, it creates wealth for everybody. You know, because we're throwing away a whole bunch of stuff at the landfills. We're throwing away things at the landfills that people in other nations would fight over. I mean, literally, they would say, that tool is my ability of providing for my family. Let's rock, paper, scissors for this tool, right? I mean, because they're not in the abundance that we're experiencing as Americans. And so for us to be in a level of abundance and a level of comfort, of services that are available to us that make our lives very, very easy. I mean, if we can push a button on the wall for heat, and then we just push a different button on the wall and everything becomes cool in the summertime, and we push another button on the wall and it makes the door come up like a big door. We push another button on the wall and that enables a security system that if a mouse so much as moves, you'll know it. You might even have it on video, right? Share it on YouTube. we push a different couple buttons on a device that enables any kind of food that we want to come to our door, delivered with somebody with a smile, right? Just by pushing a couple buttons on our phone, or not even doing that. You know, you can do voice input, I'm sure. I mean, you know, or you can get the Neuralink. You know, you can get that, and then you can just think about what you want, and then it'll show up to the door. Right? I mean, that's the level of comfort and abundance that we are experiencing. Yet I watch people in their sports cars and big, awesome SUVs and motorcycles, and some of them aren't even smiling. I mean, it's like they're mad at the world because, can you believe that asshole cut me off in public, or cut me off on the road, right? Can you believe my meal wasn't steaming hot when I got it? Fuck that delivery driver and his flat tires. Whatever. I mean, come on. I wanted my food hot. You know, and then we throw away everything, right? So we throw away everything, but where's away? Is away just making it somebody else's problem? Because a lot of the clothes that we donate to some of these institutions and nonprofit organizations, you know, they end up as a burden over in these foreign countries. You know, India, they get all sorts of toxic sludge from all of the stuff, all the industry that's happening there. And they're trying to turn trash into treasure, and they're kind of destroying some of their environment to do it. Anyway, comfort is expensive, and if you can become comfortable in more environments, you're gonna hold your wealth from not having to pay for so many services. So like, I've learned that fasting is a fantastic way to save some money, because you don't have to buy as much health care, because your body is already taking care of that. And you don't have to buy as much food because, well, you're not using it, right? And you don't have to prepare, you don't have that time to spend to earn the money to buy the food. You don't have to take the time to cook the food. You don't have to take the time to consume the food. And you don't have to take the nap after consuming the food because it just made you really tired. So it gives you like extra hours every day to do the things that you want to do. So once I started having more hours in the day to do the things I wanted to do, because I wasn't working so much to provide the comforts, that I was used to, but what I've come accustomed to, I don't have to spend so much time and energy trying to keep this space at 70 degrees, even when it's only 20 degrees outside. I keep it around 40 or 50, and I'm pretty happy because, because like, I got these sweatshirts, right? You got sweatshirts, so you got like these hats, right? And when the wind's not blowing or I'm not wet, it's pretty easy to actually keep myself warm. And so, I mean, like sometimes it's only, about 35 or 40 degrees in here. But when I get inside my sleeping bag, I'm really comfortable. I get a good night's sleep, and way better than when I had my house at 70 degrees and I was living the standard American dream. I recognize that standard American dream is like a sad nightmare of perpetual debt. And I was paying so much to exist on so many levels. But now, my life is really easy. I mean, I have things, I have some things I don't even need. But even if I'm surrounded in a little bit of chaos, I'm still very much in order in here. And when I'm in order in here, I just do the next best thing that I know to do. And I like the things that I'm creating, and I like my life, and I'm at a point in my life that I really feel like I'm healthy, and I'm happy, and I'm peaceful, and I'm abundant. Anyway, yeah, and so that abundance shows up in mysterious ways, and this pair of boots is the most comfortable boots that I've ever owned, and they came to me without having to be, I didn't have to spend the money for them, right? I got tired of making money when I was working for other people, being a plumbing contractor, and I decided it was time to make change. And so that's why I'm here now. And I've started this YouTube channel some time ago, and you just called me the Mad Monk. We're in an apocalyptic world where all sorts of things are being revealed to us. And with a revelation of an idea, we can work towards a different pathway if we recognize something that's also an option. And there's a lot of people that have chosen the option to live in a city, and that creates a high level of dependency on a lot of levels. But when we choose to move outside of the city, I mean, don't get me wrong, cities are great. I mean, they're a great place to meet up with your friends, to enjoy entertainment or your favorite kind of foods, or I mean, there's so many things. There's hobbies, or there's like this town that I'm close to. It has a maker space, so you have all these people that like to tinker and make things and stuff, and they've shared their resources so that they have a bunch of tools available to them, and a lot of skills that, I mean, it's really cool things that people can go to and participate with other people. But what I've also seen in cities is where neighbors are really hating each other. It's like, I mean, I can tolerate almost anybody for a certain amount of time, right? I mean, and it might be a minute, or it might be a decade, it might be a lifetime. But if you're exposed to somebody every day and what they're doing is affecting you in your life, eventually you come to a boiling point. And I mean, there's neighbors that, you hear the story of the Hatfields and McCoys, right? And, then you got the Karens and the Kevins, but I don't like to say Karen or Kevin, because I know Karens, and I don't know any Kevins that aren't that way. I know some Karens that aren't, though. I know some Karens that they're just caring. They're just not caring too much, right? Anyway, so if you like this video, if you do me a favor and like it or share and subscribe, that helps to get it up in the algorithms, and I'm not making any money off of this. I'm just trying to share some ideas that have come to me in a way that has improved my life. And people that I talk with regularly, they've told me, they're like, wow, you've helped me make my life better. I was like, cool. I mean, it's not my ideas. It's things I've come aware of by being exposed to some really, really awesome mentors. And I realize that a lot of my mentors are dead. They're not mentoring anybody else. And so what's our job? I mean, I just turned a half of a century of being here on this planet, on this skin suit, you know, I and I realized if my mentors that have taught me things that have helped me to become who I am aren't here and aren't influencing others or inspiring them. Not You're not influencing, I guess. Well, I guess social influencing, whatever. But I want people to know that whatever I tell you, it's only a suggestion. It's you take it for what it is, or leave it if you don't think that it matters or if it doesn't make sense. But anyway, I felt inspired to start sharing some of the things that I've learned, because if we don't help others, and if others are only being exposed to television and things that aren't working, then we have a whole world full of things that aren't working. Whereas when we can start focusing on the things that we want to focus on and creating that in our life and inspiring others to do the same, we're going to move into a world that has much more peace. There's wars going on all over the place, and I worked for the war machine for 9 years, and I was part of it, right? I was helping to support war and airstrikes, all sorts of things that I didn't have nothing against the person that I was helping to destroy, but because somebody somewhere said, "Hey, we need people to go here," I said, "Okay, I'll go." I gave up my free will, and I won't do it again. I allowed somebody somewhere else to tell me what to do and how to live my life, what sand I should be stomping in, what we should be supporting and what we're doing. And so I quit because I started to realize that I wasn't really working for people, because the people that I was working for were just like the people in these other countries, right? The people that I want to work for is you and my cousins and my grandmas and my grandpas, and you know and all of my grandmas and grandpas have gone. It's up to us. We step up, we help others, and we start to shape our now the way we want to see the future. You know, I see a lot of parents leading by domination, saying, "You'll listen to me because I said so. Because I'm the dad, that's why." Instead of inspiration, where you're just the coolest dude that, oh my God, this kid is like, man, I like hanging out with you. I don't have to hang out with you, but I want to. I'm learning things. I'm experiencing life in a way that is helping me grow. And we don't see enough of that in the world. We're allowing schools to educate our children in a way that isn't benefiting them. I'm not going to say the S word, but we have a whole bunch of little people unaliving themselves, and that shows us that we are inherently doing something wrong. If we have people that are mostly suffering dis-ease in the mind or in the body, we're doing something wrong. If we have war instead of peace, We have tons of money for war, but we don't have any to help the poor, right? We need to realize that in this world, we do have free will, but we have to use it consciously, not compulsively, to align with the idols being broadcasted to us over tele vision programming to the masses. Anyway, yeah, I hope you have a great day or night or whenever you're watching this. And yeah, so if you like the content, you can subscribe right here, or you can watch the next video that YouTube thinks is good for you right here. Thanks for watching.